Հաղորդման հովանավոր Dignity Health Glendale Memorial Hospital.
I'm Dr. Kalus Dukar. I'm a blood and cancer specialist at Dignity Health Glendale Memorial Hospital. Many times I talk to my patients and they tell me that they are having bleeding and they don't pay attention to it. Blood is red. It's just like the red light in traffic. It tells you stop and pay attention. It's no different. So if you see blood coming from anywhere, seek attention. There's something wrong.
Բարի երեկո սիրելի բարեկամներ։ Այսօր շատ հաճելի հայդակիր ունենք ցեզի համար։ Պիտի խոսենք արվեստի մասին, հատկապես հայ արվեստի մասին եւ հայ արվեստը Ամերիկայի մեջ։ Մենք հայերս շատ հայտնի արվեստագետներ ունենք աշխարհի ամեն կողմերը, հատկապես Հայաստանի մեջ եւ մեր համարյա սպիրկի մեջ։ Այսօր մեր հյուրն է շատ հայտնի Lais-Tufenkian, որ վերջերս հոկտեմբեր ամսվա մեջ բացավ իր գալերին Glendale քաղաքի մեջ։
Lais-Tufenkian, արվեստագետ, արվեստի կուրատոր, Թուֆենկյան պատկերասրահի հիմնադիր։ 2 տասնամյակ շարունակ իր եռանդուն գործունեությունը ծավալելով արվեստի ոլորտում, Lais-Tufenkian-ը թե սկսնակ ու թե կայացած բազում հայազգի նկարիչների լայնածավալ ցուցահանդեսներ է կազմակերպել։ Նրա ներկայացրած նկարիչներից են օրինակ Սեդա Մանուկյանը, Վահե Բերբերյանը, Արթուր Սարգսյանը, Արամ Վարդանովը եւ այլք։ Թուֆենկյան պատկերասրահը բոլորովին վերջերս վերաբացվեց Գլենդելի կենտրոնում, 216 South Louis Street հասցեում գտնվող նորակառույց շքեղ շենքում։ Պատկերասրահը ժամանակակից արվեստի սիրահարներին է ներկայացնում մերօրյա ամենաականավոր եւ ինքնատիպ նկարիչների աշխատանքները։ Միջազգային ցուցահանդեսային նմուշներ է առաջարկում արվեստասեր գնորդին։ Պատկերասրահը գործում է ամեն երեքշաբթիից ուրբաթ ժամը 11-ից 5-ը։
Սիրելի բարեկամներ, ինչպես ասի այսօրվա մեր հյուրն է Lais-Tufenkian, Tufenkian Fine Gallery-ին եւ այդ մի խոսենք գալերիի մասին եւ ընդհանրապես արտի մասին։ Բարի եկած եք. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself first, as and how you got involved in the arts business, and now this big center in Glendale?
Sure. First, let me say thank you so much for having me on this show. It's truly an honor. And gosh, how did we start? So as a little girl, my mother always used to take me to art classes, whether it was painting, drawing, making little roses, flowers, macrame, stained glass. So I did a wide range of artistic endeavors. And I guess I got the bug. And when you get the bug in art, it doesn't leave you.
So you start from early on.
Start from early
into
on.
Art.
Yes. And in college, I did my degree in art history. And I studied Armenian artists living in the diaspora and how they forged their identity or their artwork based on the different cultures that they've been exposed to. Mm-hmm. And one thing led to another, and one of my advisors was Neri Melkonyan. She was an art critic, art historian, and a curator. And she said, curate often and curate as much as possible. And of course, I just love curating. So the first exhibition that I did was an open studio exhibit for Seta Manukyan. And it was attended by about 20 people. It was at her studio, and that just started the whole ball rolling for exhibiting art.
But you opened the studio recently in October, right?
Yes.
How about prior to that? Were you involved in another center or another gallery? Or can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. A couple of different things. First, for about 20 years, I've just exhibited in different places. So whether it was at Seta Studio, or for Vahe Berberian, we did something at Bergamont Station. So all around town, I did exhibits, whether it was solo exhibits or group exhibits. A few of the group exhibits that I've done are the women's show at Cal State Northridge when the gallery had just reopened. We did an Armenian women's exhibit there. which was
for the first time.
For the first time.
For the first time.
Yeah.
So, what make you open a studio in Glendale? Any specific reasons, as opposed to opening in Beverly Hills, let's say?
Great question, and something that we struggled with for a long time, because we were looking at different places to do an exhibit, to do a gallery. It was just a natural extension of what I'd been doing for so many years. So we looked at downtown, we looked at Pasadena, looked at Culver City, looked at a host of different areas that were probably better known as art centers.
Right.
But we just felt that Glendale was home. There's a big movement of bringing more arts to Glendale. And, you know, we're really glad to be part of that whole movement. And so, you know, that was the natural place to do.
How long it took you to design and this whole concept and reality, let's say, from A to Z? From
A to Z. Well, we first opened up a gallery in 2015.
Okay.
And that was on San Fernando in a more industrial area.
Right.
And we did about 9 shows there, and all of them very well attended, very successful. Then we felt like, okay, it might be a good time to move to a more central location. And when this building came up, we felt that, okay, that was
perfect spot.
The perfect spot, even though it was a office building. So the challenges of converting an office building to a gallery, you know, it took a little while, and we had a few different minds come together and design something that we feel now, you know, is a good gallery.
It gets a good gallery in the heart of Glendale.
Yes.
And hopefully it will attract our community there, right?
Yes.
I mean, that was the whole idea.
Absolutely. And our goal is to engage the community, Armenian, non-Armenian, to engage the community at large. Also, not only community in Glendale area, but, you know, beyond as well.
Right. So you will attract Armenian populations from Pasadena, from Hollywood, everywhere where Armenian population is.
And non-Armenian. We've had quite a few non-Armenian collectors, and, you know, it's not necessarily just an Armenian gallery.
Is there any specific artists you're going after, or is it open? I mean, can you describe a little bit about the gallery? I mean, just for us to have some understanding.
Right. Well, this building actually gives us a little flexibility with...
By the way, how big is the building?
4,500 square feet.
That's pretty large.
Yeah.
Multi-story?
2 stories.
2 stories.
2 stories, and it gives us great latitude to do different types of shows. So the downstairs is more longer-term exhibits. So we're going to do 5 or 6 a year, and that's going to be mainly the gallery artists. So I represent 15 artists right now. So it would probably be most of their work. Mainly. And upstairs would be more of a project space, so it would give opportunity for more dynamic, different mediums, different artists, more variety. So we're really excited about inviting different curators and artists for that area.
We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about these 15 artists that you're representing them, and is there any plan for expansion? And if you maybe add more artists. Are these mainly Armenian, these 15 artists?
So far, yes, they're all Armenian
but
artists.
But you're going to get non-Armenian as well.
We definitely are.
We'll talk about them when we come back.
All right.
Սեի պայգամներ գարչ տատարեմը հետը բիդի վերաթարնակ մեր հայդակրին։ Սեի պայգամներ մեր հյուրն է Lais-Tufenkiանը եւ գխոսենք հայ արվեստի մասին եւ այդ թեման է մեր այսօրվա թեման. Caroline, just before the break, we were talking about the Armenian artists, the 15 of them. Can you tell us a little bit about the Armenian artists in the United States? I'm sure there's more than 15, but just in general, can you give us a little bit, some idea about what's in the Armenian artist scene, And who are these 15 you're representing them, and what are the plans for expansion?
Well, let me start out by saying that there's many, many very talented Armenian artists. These 15 are artists that I've come across and worked with over the past 20 years at different capacities, doing exhibits for them and so on. So it just was a relationship that has evolved. So we've been working together for many years. But the first thing that I would look at when I'm thinking about an artist would be having that initial emotional reaction to their work. And if that is there, I look at their resume and where they've shown, where they studied, what museums they're in. For example, the most recent artist that I added was Garo Andreasyan, and he's someone that I've worked with for 5 years now.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Garo? I mean, I heard about him, but can you, just for our audience's sake, just a little bit background on Garo and his accomplishment and so forth?
Garo is, he was born in 1922 in Indianapolis. Raised in Indianapolis, became very interested in lithography at an early age, specifically in high school. And he experimented quite a bit with lithography to the extent that he's written books on lithography. He's done so many breakthroughs and pioneered so many different technological lithography techniques in that field that he's often referred to as godfather of lithography. In the early 1960s, the Ford Foundation, who was a big supporter of the arts at the time, put June Wayne and Garo Andreasyan together to start the Tamarind Institute, along with a third person who was Clinton Adams. And they started it in Los Angeles. And a few years after that, Clinton Adams and Garo Andreasyan moved to Albuquerque to start Tamarind Institute.
Գարո Անդրեասյան, ամերիկահայ նկարիչ, գծանկարիչ, ամերիկյան տպագրության ոլորտի ճանաչված գործիչ, վիմագրության ականավոր մասնագետ։ Տպագրության եւ արվեստի աշխարհում Գարո Անդրեասյանի ներդրումը հսկայական է։ Նորարարական մոտեցման եւ բացառիկ տաղանդի շնորհիվ Գարո Անդրեասյանը իր պատվավոր տեղն է զբաղեցրել 20-րդ դարի ամերիկյան ամենահռչակավոր արվեստագետների շարքում։
The work had to be craft oriented. How do you make this? I had to teach myself how to do it. So as I was teaching myself to do that, particularly in color lithography, I became interested in commercial printing. All of the things they do, as that process commercially progressed, because it's a business, the new equipment, the new ways of doing things, I thought had potential for creative purposes as well. We determined that a comprehensive technical treatise on what we knew should be printed. And we did what was called the Tamarind Book of Lithography, Art and Techniques. That was the title. I was teaching art in the art department, but as well as being technical director at Tamarind here. And then eventually I retired from Tamarind, so I'd have more time to do my own art and continue teaching at the university, and then finally retired totally in 1986. Throughout my life, I've been blessed with good luck and good friends and people I could learn a lot of stuff from.
Any other famous artists besides Garo Andreasyan that you're representing them? Out of these 15, can we have some names?
Out of these 15, I would say just because of age and what they've done in their lives, it
They're
would
younger
add
than
to,
Garo, who's almost 95
Garo's
years, 95 years old.
Yes. And our next artist is, the next exhibition that we're going to be doing is Hagop Hagopian, and we're really honored to have his works. And I think it's probably one of the most significant exhibits in a long time of Hagopian's body of work on the West Coast.
Right. Is the gallery for-profit or non-profit organization?
It's a private organization.
It's a private organization. Okay. So people, if they're giving a donation, are they allowed to give donations to support the gallery?
I think they would have to take a painting along with them. So
I see. So you have to buy
the paintings are for sale.
For sale, okay. So. Okay. So it's a private institution.
Yes.
What are your plans? We talked about expansion.
Yes.
What type of plans you have? I mean, I know it's relatively new, but I'm sure you have some business plan to expand the gallery, right?
Yes.
So what are these plans? Can you share with us those plans?
First and foremost, I think it's expanding to the non-Armenian world, both in terms of collectors and artists. I think we're living in a city which is very dynamic and diverse in cultures, and it's important to have that dialogue and that discourse within the gallery. In addition to that, our goal is, number one, to always represent the highest quality of art, and number two, to have that discourse and dialogue with other organizations, other museums and galleries here and abroad.
Caroline, we have a short video presentation on the artist, so let's watch it together, the presentation. Սիրելի բարեկամներ, մենք ունենք video presentation artistներու մասին, so միասին դիտենք այդ բաժինը։
Թուֆենկյան պատկերասրահը հպարտ է ներկայացնելու մի շարք փայլուն նկարիչների հավաքածուներ, որոնցից մի քանիսը այս պահին կներկայացնենք ձեր ուշադրությանը։
Սիրելի բարեկամներ, մեր հյուրն է Lais-Tufenkian եւ գխոսենք մենք արվեստի մասին։ Just before the break, we were talking about the artists and the number of artists you have. Can we talk a little bit more specific about the Armenian artists and their future? And I know there's many artists in the United States that are Armenian descent, but what is the role of the Armenian artists in diaspora, let's say?
I think the role is becoming more and more important. We have a lot of art events going on around town, which is fantastic. But to speak to my 15 artists that I represent, very global. I think the art world is becoming more and more global through social media, through different art platforms. We're part of a few different platforms, so I get interest for my artists from Dubai, from
Wow.
Arkansas, from...
There's Armenians in Arkansas, or these are non-Armenians?
No, non-Armenians. So I've had quite a few interests from different places, and I think it's more than just presenting the artists. I think it's really presenting them to an Armenian community, Armenian artist, Armenian identity. Mm-hmm. And if we look back historically, our culture and our art is a very big part of our identity. Mm-hmm. So it's important to...
some of these artists younger artists in their younger age, or they're in older artists? I'm just going to understand the cross-section of these 15 artists that you have.
Younger artists, I think probably the youngest artist I have is in her 40s.
Okay.
And I'm really happy to say that some of these artists, for example, Geram Kacherian, I actually came to know him through fellow colleagues in the American art world. Jay Bololi raved about him. Betty Brown raved about him. So, it's nice to know that I'm being introduced to some of these artists through
non-Armenians, which they like the Armenian art, and they're admire our culture and so forth.
Yes.
People are
and it was, sorry to interrupt, but there was the same thing with Garo Andreasyan. Came to know about his work through an exhibit at the Norton Simon
Museum.
At the museum in Pasadena. And he was very much part of an exhibit about the beginnings of print in Los Angeles.
Caroline, do you coordinate some of your work with other galleries in the city or in other parts of the United States? Or is there that collaboration between different galleries?
I've worked with different galleries, and the goal is to work more closely with several museums. In fact, for Garo Andreasyan's exhibition that we're doing at the gallery now, we've got interest from Norton Simon, obviously because they have several of his works as part of their collection. Mm-hmm. So, it's important to continue that dialogue and that discourse with all the museums.
What are the hours of the gallery? I mean, are you open every day?
Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturdays by appointment.
Okay. How about, do you have specific events throughout the year dedicated to maybe a specific themes?
Yes.
Do you conduct that?
Yes, we have, first of all, we have the opening reception for each exhibition that we do. And you can learn about that either by following us through social media, Facebook, Instagram, or sending us an email and being part of our email list. Mm-hmm. And we send out reminders and invitations on a periodic basis.
How do you get the word out to the community that you exist and you're there in Glendale and you have all these artists, especially Armenian artists, you know? Mm-hmm. How do you get the word out? You advertise or word of mouth? Or
social media. Through our mailing list and through Artsy, which is global, and that's how we get interest from all over the world. So those are the ways, and also through press releases that we send out to different media, Armenian and non-Armenian.
In our final segment, I'd like again to come back to the Armenian artist, the identity of the Armenian artist. What are our characteristics? Are we different than, because of our culture, because of our history, maybe we're different than anybody else. Do we have a different art than American art, let's say, or European art? How do you distinguish us from others?
How do we distinguish? I think with contemporary art, it's so vast and so different and individual to each artist. There isn't a stylistic Armenianness.
Mm-hmm. But we have famous artists, Armenians, Arshil Gorky.
Just from America, we've got Arshil Gorky, we've got Nakyan, we've got Andreasyan, we've got Pushman, we have a number of very famous Charles Garabedian.
What about, I think the Armenian genocide, it played obviously a huge role in our, culture. Is that affects our art with whatever we do in the future years, or that's something that's in everybody's mind?
I think obviously it's something that's on everybody's mind and their consciousness. And in fact, we did an exhibit. I was co-curator of an exhibit that we did in 2015 at the Brand Library, and it was called Life 100.
Right.
And we had 33 what we want to call master artists, who were artists who contributed to Armenian art or contributed to non-Armenian art as well. We had Arshil Gorky, we had John Altoon, we had Andreasyan's work, Hakopian, and quite a few others. And we had contemporary artists. We had 30 contemporary artists. So it was just interesting to see the diversity and what each one has contributed to the art world in general.
Mm-hmm. Karen, you mentioned about Cal State Northridge. Mm-hmm. Do you collaborate with other universities as well? USC, there's a big Armenian center there. UCLA or Pepperdine, in other universities, do we have some kind of association regarding arts and the Armenian artists?
But limited, but yes, we definitely do. With USC, we work quite closely with Salpi, with Pepperdine, the Weissman Foundation. We've reached out to them for Gatto's works because they have they've shown interest in Gatto's works. So. Definitely, that's another part of continuing that dialogue with different organizations.
What about the schools, Armenian schools? Do you encourage the students there at the younger age, as you were saying, at the younger age you were interested in arts, in elementary school, in high school? Do you push anything at that stage to go into art?
Well, first, let me say, for 10 years I taught at Chamlian.
Okay.
So I've taught there for many years, and I'd like to say that I sowed the seeds of art appreciation. In fact, one of the girls who's working at Tufenkian Fine Arts right now was my student many years ago, and she's getting her master's degree now at Sotheby's. So really excited to see that, maybe it had something to do with that.
Do you have any message for our public as a final thought on the gallery as well as your tremendous work in this field?
My final word would probably be that art is very important to our identity, very important to our history. Come, learn, appreciate, support, and be a part of our art culture, because that's really, really important. Whether it's through Tufenkian Fine Arts, through different exhibitions that go on throughout the city, it's very important to support the arts.
Thank you. Thank you for your work, and it's a great, marvelous work. Սեր պայգամներ, այսպեսով գպագեք մեր հայդակիրը, մեր արվեստը, մեր հայկական նույն նկարակիրն է, եւ please այցելեցեք Tufenkian Fine Gallery-ին եւ կաչարեք մեր հայ արվեստագետները։ Շնորհակալ եմ։
Հաղորդման հովանավոր Dignity Health Glendale Memorial Hospital